Hi, welcome back. This is Meg. I appreciate you being here with me today, and I'm going to do something on a Renaissance style triangle tile today. It's a 3Z tile from Zentangle. This is how I purchased it in this set of 55 with a variety of items in it. If you don't want to buy this many, you are welcome to take a look at the starter packs that I'm putting together on my Etsy page, which is under the same name, Meg Steele Creates, and I'm authorized to sell these items, all Zentangle products, as a certified Zentangle teacher. So I'm happy to sell you fewer than 55 and at a really reasonable price. So this is Renaissance tile, and that's just means it's the beige tile. And the other items I'm using today are a Zentangle white pencil, Zentangle regular graphite pencil, a tortillon. I might use this, I think I will be using the General's Pastel Chalk Van Dyke brown pencil, which is sort of that sepia tone. And of course my black pen today. There we go. So let's dive right in. One of my favorite tangles is, I'm not sure what you call it, to be real honest, and I didn't look it up because to me the names aren't that important. If you really want to know, let me know and I'll look it up for you. But it's one that is, I don't necessarily need a space to put it in, but I want to keep you, if you're watching these videos, accustomed to using the string as a part of the process. And so I'm going to start with putting my corner dots in and drawing a border, as I've shown you in my introductory video. If you didn't watch that, this is how Zentangle process works. If you follow the process, which I do sometimes and don't other times. This is my border line, and I'm going to then draw a string through here. And a string is just a way to create sort of an elegance of limitations, if that makes sense. It's giving you the opportunity to stay inside a line or go outside of a line. It helps to define the space a little bit more and maybe inspires some sort of design that you might not have created if you hadn't created the that string. And so now I'm kind of turning around and deciding which way do I think this thing goes, and I don't know yet. So we'll just start working on it. This first tangle is one, as I was saying, that I don't know the name of it, but I'm going to just start it with you. And it starts with just a dot, and it's a circular kind of tangle. And what you do is go around, and just a little bit of space, I've gone around like a little circle, and then I pause, and I draw a little mound on it. It's like a growth, or just a little chunk on the side. Then I keep going around, and a little bit around there, I'm going to do another one. Little chunk, and then draw a little bit more around and then put another one on there, a little lump on there, and go around here and put another one on. Now when I get to that outer border, I'm going to let that outer border cut me off, which means I'm going to pretend like I go, well, I'll show you when I get around there. I just keep going around like this, adding these little chunks, and when I get to one that I've drawn, I kind of go over it. So I'm staying pretty close to the lines of the prior circuit around. And pretty soon you start to get a bit of a pattern going where you go over one and then draw another one. And it's not important. In fact, it would be difficult and not fun to try to make them perfect. You won't have much success at that, I don't think, and I'm not sure that it would look better. So the idea is to not pay too much attention to what's happening with it and wait until the end of it to have the magic happen. So I pretend that I go behind that one and come out the other side. Draw a little mound there, go over there and put one back there, put one under here, and again I'm hitting the line there, so I'm just going to pretend and go over it and keep doing that all the way around. So that I'm getting this kind of a floral thing going. And I also think it looks a lot like cabbage. You know, if you were to cut a head of cabbage in half, this is sort of like what the leaves and the little gaps in between the leaves look like to me. It's got sort of a cabbagey look or something like that. See there, isn't that neat? It looks so great. I like the way it looks when it's squished into a space like that. Yeah, look at that. I love that. It's really neat looking. Okay, so we'll leave that one. I think that's good enough for now. It's a pretty small tile, so I want to leave room to do some other things. Next thing I want to do is something with a grid, and I've got this one big space here that a grid would work perfect in. So I'm going to do a grid here, and I want it to be a grid. I mean, I don't know exactly where I'm going to go with it, but I want it to be a grid that kind of spreads itself out a little bit. So I think I'm going to start here with one line, and then go sort of out almost like a star. Maybe a little bit smaller spaces than that, like this. See? So then I'm going to draw a line like this, a line like that. So it creates a grid, but it's sort of a funky one, right? It's got a lot of angles to it. And maybe I'll add some lines in here just to give it more grid spaces to work with. Yeah, but I don't want the grid to be so small that any design gets lost in it. So when you're working with a grid, one of the things that you do have to think about is how complex is your design and is it going to fit in. There's my kitty cat Freya. She just wants to be right in the middle of the picture. So you have to think about whether you want that grid to be, you know, complex or very, very simple. And in this case, I want it to be very bold. So in my space here, I'm going to fill in with a big box inside each of the grid boxes, like this. And when I get to a place where there's a line, I'm gonna follow that line, like that. This isn't necessarily a tangle that has a name. You know, this is just something, it's just a design. It's just something I'm doing. If it does have a name, I don't know it. Can't remember what that line right there. Oh, that's just that other corner. I see. I kind of forgot what I did there. There we go. This one. There we go. Neat. Okay. Now I want to draw in the original lines around those. I mean, I'm kind of making it up as I go along. I hope you realize that there really is no right and wrong. And sometimes in some of my videos I've chosen in advance the tangles I'm going to do and kind of how I'm going to do them. I might even practice once. I have some tiles that I've done 3 or 4 times because I'm trying to, kind of get them to a place where I want you to feel excited about doing them. And so I want the end result to be something you'll be excited to do in a video, And other times I really don't practice it. I just simply video record what, like I am right now, myself tangling. This is really what it's like, and so that means that sometimes I change my mind or simply don't have a plan. I think I've got it all. Yeah, what a dramatic shape that is, right? With those spaces like that. I like that. I don't know if I'll do anything in between there or not. We'll just have to see. I think I'll do a border like this around this shape. And go with sort of a checkerboard, which means I'm going to draw these squares like this, and I'm going to end up coloring in every other one. So there we go. All right. And I'm going to color those in. Anytime you do, stark black and white next to each other over and over, it definitely has a dramatic effect. Sometimes when I tangle, I try to think about a particular word or phrase that might be something I'm studying at the time, or maybe I'm using in my planner, my calendar, that is a word or focus, an intention. Look here, I've got an even number, which means I'm going to have black next to black. So how do we solve that? Well, white, black next to black. So I've got to make a black one in between. Look in there. Oh, maybe I messed it up even more. Ah! Let's see, there we go. I just kind of made black ones over the top of those lines, and I'll do that here too. See? There we go. Tricky, tricky. There, neat, huh? Okay, my next space is this one, and I want to go with something a little curvy and a little flowery, and I'm going to do these little things. I can't remember what these different things are called, but this one is little tiny petals at the end of lines. They're not the same as muca, which is bigger tips petals. It might be called fescue, I think. For some reason, that's the name that's coming to me. But they can go in all different directions, and they just have this real sweet, you know, and I'm going to do one outside the lines. Look at there. Tangling outside the lines. Look at that. It's sweet, isn't it? There we go. Those look nice. Sit back and look at it a little bit. What do I want to do next? I think I'll do a little bit of work inside here. And I'm starting with this little bubble like this, just a little lump. It's sort of maybe the start of crescent moon, or even looks a lot like these lumps. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to go with a crescent moon shape inside of these. So let's see how this looks by itself. Yeah, I think I'll go with a crescent moon until I run out of space. Let them just run into each other as they curve around. And when they do run into each other, I just go around it, sort of, right, like this. And then when this one runs into that, you'll see I just hit it and then come back to the other side. See, they just meet up in the middle like that. There we go. Now, where I'm just trying to decide if I want to really do something with the inside of those boxes, but I think I'm going to use my white pencil there. So I'm not sure how this is going to come out, but let's just go for it. So I'm going to start shading this. And I'm going to start here because this is the most obvious place that it feels like there is a going in feeling, a real three-dimensional feel of going in. This thing here looks really cool if I shade on the outside of it, like this. And then eventually I'm going to push that graphite into the flower. So I'm just going to do like that. For now, I'm really just going to shade down here where these little flowers grow out of. There's not a whole lot you can do, maybe just a little bit of shadow behind a couple of them to give it a, you know, maybe a little bit of a 3D effect, but you wouldn't want to, I mean, I don't want to get too much in there. It just ends up being too messy. This is a small tile, and there's no real way to make all of those look like they're casting a shadow. So just a couple of them. And then this part, I'm going to put my graphite down at the intersection of each of the 4 lines where they come together. Each time there's an intersection. Even up here where it's a half of an intersection. I'm going to go ahead and do it up there as well. So you see I've put graphite down just about everywhere. Am I missing anything? Like that. And now I'm going to go back with my tortillon to all the places I've put this graphite down and smudge a bit. This just in here in this crevice. Right, you see? And here, as I said, I want to pull the graphite in. So I'm sort of taking it from the edge and smudging in to that cabbage or flower. It's cool. And a little couple in here, but again, not too much that I make this super messy in here because it just gets muddy. And on each of these intersections, then, a pretty dramatic smudge. You know, I put a lot of graphite down, and there's enough space here to accommodate a nice smudge, a nice bit of graphite in each of those corners. This isn't always easy to do on these smaller tiles because you just simply run out of space, and if you shade it, you end up just turning the whole thing gray. But that's how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to... So that could be it. We could be done there, and it's fabulous. But I am going to take my white pencil, which I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this in this... Oh, wait, I forgot to do one thing. I want to shade right around the outside of this, right here. Like that. And even right along the inside line of it. Inside. This area has gotten a little bit too, you know, kind of messy, but I don't care. All right, around the outside. Smudge, 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 bringing that graphite out from there, pushing it out. You don't want to be too bashful with your shading, or else it just also doesn't get you the effect you want. So first thing I'm going to do is draw this line right down the middle of that black and white thing, like that, and pop. Look how that worked. And now it looks like it's a tube, or it's some kind of three-dimensional thing there, right? I love that. It's the paper color with the black and white that does it. It is like magic. Right? Look at that. Cool. I just made a couple of white marks inside there to make those things pop. Would you look at that? Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to color in a little bit of these little windows. I really don't know if this is going to have how this is going to go. Because, you know, the pencil is really a highlight, and so I'm not quite sure what I'm highlighting here other than these little window shapes, but I kind of think it'll look neat. I like the contrast on this paper. I was talking earlier about a word or something I focus on while I'm doing this. I got off track. Today I've been thinking about the word compassion because I read something online about a woman who was just simply being so compassionate to someone else who was in pain, and I was so, I don't know, moved by her selflessness. And I remembered that when I worked in healthcare, one of the values of that organization was compassion. And, you know, I really learned in that organization what compassion meant to them, and it stuck with me, and that was empathy in action. Empathy in action. And if I think about compassion being empathy in action, it really makes me appreciate when people do kind things. Right? Empathy is something, you know, it's enough. It's not enough just to, well, it is enough, but if feeling for someone else is lovely, but taking action on those feelings is really a gift. Okay, I'm just going to add a little highlight in here just to bring out a little bit of white from these spaces, and I'm just putting it on kind of where it's not black, but even then I'm getting a little bit on the black. It doesn't matter. There. And so anyway, I've been thinking about that compassion and whether, you know, when I feel empathy, what do I do about it? What does it mean to take action? And that's one of the things I've been pondering lately. So this was an interesting experiment. I don't know if I love it, but I did like the process and I enjoyed sharing it with you. And I do like the way this looks. I think if I were to do it again, I might do some, you know, I thought this, I do like it. I don't want to say it's not good because I think it looks really neat. I love this dramatic sweep here and I love this effect. Okay, so I like it. I think it's neat. I'm going to put a little bit of white inside of in here. It feels like those little things get kind of lost, doesn't it? So, but you know, if you highlight everything, then you've highlighted nothing. So it is a dance, right? A balancing act between highlighting everything and highlighting nothing. So probably went a little overboard there. I'll just smudge it around a bit. And I think I've done as much as I ought to on this one, because if I keep going, then I might maybe take it where I don't want to, but I'll pause there, and I hope that you're happy with yours. Love to see them if there's a way to have you share. There's my kitty cat again. She might come across. Let's say, put our initials on there and sign and the Steele, and I'll put my little signature here right along this edge. There we go, MS. Thanks for joining me. I enjoyed it so much. Have a great day.